This is Python's Paradise. This is your host, Greg Gilbert, aka the Python Hyena. And folks, here we are out of Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada on November the 10th, 2021. And we are celebrating the 15-year anniversary of a film I saw 4 times in the theater when it came out, Clerks 2. And we're also celebrating the 5-year anniversary of La La Land. I can't believe it's been 5 years.
Wow. I know, it feels like yesterday.
Yes. Folks, I give you one of the dancers that was in these films. I previously interviewed, I'm going to screw up her name, Reshma Gajar. I knew I was going to screw that up. Sorry, Reshma. Sorry.
That's okay. Maybe just stick on a first name basis and you won't worry about anyone's last name.
I had her on here and we talked about American Beauty and La La Land, Clerks 2 and the works, and she was wonderful.
Awesome.
Now we have another one of these dancers on the show. Yes, we have Anthony Marciona.
Well said, bravo.
I got her this time after pre-tape.
Official Italian.
Yeah, well, before we get into that, give us some of your Italian background.
Let's see, my family is mostly Sicilian. They came over 2 generations ago. I was born in New York, and I lived when I was born in Italian Harlem, which was uptown, like 103rd Street area in Manhattan. And yeah, so that's my background. I've gone back and forth and found some relatives back there. Actually, when I was a kid, I did one of my first movies I did in Rome. So I try and keep the Italian connection and keep up the language and the culture as well.
Yes, you guys have some good food there.
yeah, we keep that, as I've gotten older. I mean, I've been dancing my whole life. I started my career at 5, and I think I did my first Broadway show, Zorba the Greek, and I played Greek, but Mediterranean. Back then, the Italian, was more specific. We were considered ethnic, and then I guess through the years, the Italian has sort of assimilated a little bit. But as an actor, I play all characters and stuff, but I started brought up in musical theater, and as I got older, I started doing just character work, and then I started getting into dance again just to keep in shape. I had put on a few more pounds, and one of my choreographer friends, I was probably in my late 30s, early 40s, said, "Do you want to dance again?" And I guess, a couple of years ago, dance started getting big. Well, more than a couple of years ago. But after the music video phase sort of went through, then they started doing things on TV and film. And next thing you know, there was always a dance number in any new movie, in any TV show. And I was sort of the regular guy, character guy that you didn't expect could dance, but I'd been doing my whole life. So I got back in my classes, and I got a little niche as one of the, we don't say seniors, we say seasoned performers.
There you go. That's better. That's better. What got you into dance, especially at such a young age?
I think, let's see. I really started like 4, where we lived in New York. There was the Marshall family, Penny Marshall and Gary Marshall.
Nice.
Pretty well known. They were young, but their mother lived in our neighborhood, and she used to put on these little shows, and it was basically like where parents would send their kids after school. We didn't have home care or like child care. You just went. And so her name was Marjorie Marshall, and she taught classes and kind of gave kids things to do. And they were in the business. So a lot of people, producers, directors would come in, and that's, I got some interest. They would come see the shows and asked my parents to bring me on an audition, and it kind of stemmed from there. then I got agents and started taking dance at Phil Black's, who's a real New York famous dance teacher back in the 60s and 70s. And so I got into dance then. And in New York, you acted, danced, sang, played the piano. You sort of had to be triple, quadruple threat. So I've always kept up dance. It's been my parents danced in ballroom at Roseland Ballroom, and it's always been a part of my life. And all my friends can dance, so it's like just there's something the difference about acting and dance is actors is more a individual. I don't want to say sport, but talent. And usually when you're on a set, you're in your dressing room working on a script and something. But when you're on a dance job, it's like a whole community. Most of us have worked together before, so it's like a little family. And especially like on Clerks or La La Land, most of the people I had worked with before, and it just is a whole different environment on the set. And even like non-dancers and non-musical people like Kevin Smith, the director, just absorbed it, and we just had so much fun. I looked back at it recently. I didn't realize how short that little section was, but we did a couple of days. We had two choreographers, Michael Rooney and Marty Kudelka, who was more into hip hop, and Rosario's dancing, Kevin Smith, and Silent Bob, and a lot of friends on there. It was just so much fun. I mean, I have nothing but great memories from it, from what I can remember.
Do you have any favorite musicals growing up? Like to me, probably the greatest would be like Singing in the Rain. To me, is like the greatest musical ever.
I
Did you have
love
any?
Singing in the Rain. I do have a favorite. My favorite musical would probably be West Side Story or
Oh,
Gypsy. Um,
okay, yep.
West Side Story, probably because it had the whole, as a kid, I grew up in New York
New
and sort
York.
of related to that. And we didn't live too far from where they shot, the on the courts, that scene in the park. Um, and
Are
I
you
had done,
are you excited about Spielberg's version coming up?
I am. I wish I was trying to get in as Officer Krupke, but
Yeah.
I would have loved to have been part of that. I had done a production of it when I was younger, playing Bernardo's cousin, and I just loved that show. And the other big one was Gypsy, which sort of
Mhm.
was about show business and stage parents, and that was big because I actually got to do the Broadway version of that, and with Angela Lansbury, and she's since been, I mean, such an iconic actress and musical performer as well. And through the years we've stayed in little contact over the years and run into each other every once in a while. But those were probably two of my favorite musicals
Mhm.
for older musicals. But and then recent, I mean, La La Land just brought it back. For a while, um, it seemed like musicals weren't doing so well in the industry, and then that seemed to bring back, the old days of the musical where people just broke into song and dance in the middle, and I think people are embracing it again. You know.
Yeah, there's been a lot. I'm going to tell you one of my favorites in the last 10 years was Rock of Ages. I
Oh, Rock of Ages
loved
is awesome.
Rock of Ages. Loved it. That took me back, nostalgia with the music and whatnot. But yeah, Clerks too. I saw that uh four times the theater. Don't ask. But I love the original Clerks, and I've interviewed a couple of people from it, and
Yeah.
I was like, I really enjoyed Clerks too as well. I mean, I remember that dance number. I mean, you had somebody at the urinal freaking
Right, right. He took inside the restaurant and the burger place, and then and we were just going with I mean, like our section where all of us come out was pretty choreographed, but there was some ad lib stuff in there, especially in the restaurant, and then I think Rosario on the roof, and but it just was so fun. Yeah, I enjoyed Clerks too. I mean, I was a big Kevin Smith fan,
Oh
and
yeah.
just his offset sense of humor, and it was just a fun thing that he incorporated some musical and dance into it. I think people really got a kick out of that.
I enjoyed that. It was something different for him, and seeing him and Jason Mewes go by with their pigtails.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
What was it like with Kevin Smith directing a musical scene? Because that was different for him.
well, yeah. I mean, he was involved, but like since there were two choreographer or assistant, I mentioned Michael Rooney, who was Mickey Rooney's son originally, and then Marty, who was really into the hip hop, and so choreographers are sort of directors, so they worked in tandem, and kind of let him take over a little bit with the group, Kevin. But then Kevin was also in the section, so he sort of took a little, I don't want to say a backseat. I don't think a director ever takes a backseat, but he kind of let Michael and Marty do their thing, get us involved. And, but, the directing and everything, and he would come in and from what I remember, give me a little this or give me a little that, a little more happy or and the angles and everything. So we'd readjust things depending on the camera angles. Cause in like part of there's a crane shot that goes up and gets all of us in from the top. And so we had to adjust choreography to that. But it was fun. I mean, he knew what he was doing, or he looked like he knew what he was doing. I don't want to say, but I'd love to work with him again. But he's done a lot since then.
Yeah.
But it was fun. It's interesting when there's a choreographer and a director. The best stuff you get is when they're working together. Like even in La La Land, Damien and Mandy Moore, they worked in unison for all the dance numbers, and it was great. You got a great piece out of it. You can really tell when they're working together, because it is choreographers are in a sense directors, and directors are directors. So they have to really have the same vision for it to work. In a film.
Yeah. Any memories of Rosario Dawson on Clerks 2?
A little bit. She was so sweet and everything. We didn't have that much time together because she was on the roof, and but she came down and watched us, and I think we learned some of the choreography, when we were learning everything together. But everyone was so sweet on the set, and that's why I was saying, when there's dance in a scene, people, it could be not that was a comedy, it was in a heavy movie, but like it just, even the crew like want to get involved, and it just changes the whole dynamics on a set. So people like, we're working hard, and it was hot, and a lot of steps, and we're on concrete and jumping off things, and but the general attitude is like we're having fun, because dance is fun. You see how popular it's got. Look on TikTok and anything, and on shows, people have fun dancing. So it sort of opens people up to things, and it was a great atmosphere on it. I
Yeah.
remember.
What did you think of the finished film, Clerks? I mean, were you surprised to see a donkey act and whatnot in there?
I wasn't that surprised because I think, Kevin's humor is sort of, comes out from the side. So, I mean, it was funny. I mean, it was surprised because I hadn't seen it, but it didn't surprise me in the sense that didn't go, it fit right in with everything, you know.
You
That's a,
mentioned La La Land. I gotta get this off my chest right now.
yeah.
I've had a massive crush on Emma Stone since
Oh,
2007 when she did Superbad,
yeah.
and like I went and saw Cruella this year just to see Emma
Oh,
Stone.
she was awesome in that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, Emma's my current celebrity crush, and it's been like celebrity crush for like I said, since 2007 when Superbad came out.
Oh,
So
wow, wow. No, she was
yeah.
great. Her and Ryan, I was involved in at the ending of the movie, they have that whole synopsis of the whole movie done in like musical theater. And So, and that was a long, I mean, that took a while for that scene. There were so many parts to it, like a long, and they were both, so focused and not traditional dancers. So they were really focused and making sure, they had the steps and things, but, they were just so fun to work with. And it's nice because, and that was a big group of dancers, you know, throughout the whole movie, but especially in the last portion of the movie, we had so many people in then, and they just enjoy. It was like nice to be appreciated. We're not the stars of the show, but it does create some great scenes, and they really appreciated the work we put into it as well. And so, again, like I said, it was like a big family. We were just hanging out and playing, and then it was time to work, and but everyone was so great.
You're not the stars of the show, but those numbers would not, like, you guys are kind of the stars of those numbers, because
Right, right.
like I'm going to tell
Thank
you,
you. I appreciate that. I
well,
mean, you're right. Like a lot of these movies without those numbers wouldn't be the movies they are today.
yep.
So, and that's always been the challenge for dancer, and especially as dancer actors, because like you do get treated a little bit different as an actor when you're on a roll and you have lines, then you're like looked at this way. And then when you're a group of dancers, you're sort of looked at not negatively but differently, like say from the crew and how you're treated and things, and and you're treated as like en masse, or like as a group as opposed to an individual. But a lot of time, that's changing a lot too, as the respect more for dancers and singers, and specific talents that come in on the thing. I think it's changing a lot. I mean, I've been in the business now over 50 years professionally. And, I've gone through, I've played leads and things and actors, and then I've done dance things. We just did a show called Be Positive with Annalie Ashford as the lead. And it's a Chuck Lorre show that's very funny, and it deals with a dark subject. It deals with kidney cancer, a kidney failure, and she ends up giving a kidney to this guy she knew in high school, and Chuck Lorre is a big musical fan, so in the second season he decided to add music and stuff. So they redid all the opening credits, and a bunch of us. I was actually one of the younger dancers on that, which doesn't happen all the time, but because it takes place in a nursing home, and then we do all, we're dancing with IVs, and then we have all these different sections, and so throughout the season, the second season just started a couple of weeks ago on CBS. So if you get a chance to check that out, you'll see us in the opening. And it was fun because actually some of the people from Clerks and also La La Land that I worked with years ago are still working, the older dancers, and we all got to work together on this show for 2 weeks. We were doing all these different dance numbers, and it was so much fun just to, dance again and work, and we had a lot of laughs on that too. And that's the bunch of the seasoned performers that have been doing, that started doing videos with Michael Jackson and back in the day, and they're still around. So it's great.
It's interesting because I remember interviewing Antonia Franceschi, who teaches ballet in New York right now. She was in the movie Fame, the 1980 movie Fame. She was the dancer who had to drop out because she ended up having an abortion or whatnot, and so that was her character arc. And it's funny because when she sent me her material, you want to talk about background dancers. I she's It was indicated on her background material that she was a background dancer in Greece.
Oh,
And
wow.
when I found that out, I was like, I know exactly what dancer she was, because there was one I always had an eye on because she was really pretty. And
Uh-huh.
it turns out it was Antonia, just her hair was darker in
Oh,
Greece.
wow.
And she confirmed everything I brought up. So she was a background dancer, but every time she's on screen, I'm able to point her out because
That's
she's,
cool. That brought
yeah.
a lot of memories, um, that with Fame, because I was up originally for one of the roles, and I knew a lot of my friends who I was working with at the time, Laura Dean,
Hmm.
Paul McCrane, Debbie Allen. We were all buddies, so I didn't. I was up for the piano player Lee Carreri ended up getting that role, um, but it was fun. I remember because I was living in the city, not a few blocks from the High School of Performing Arts, and came down and when they did the big street scene and everything. And yeah, I have a lot of memories from that. And then when it was a series, I did a couple episodes of that and had some friends on that as well.
So you
But
weren't in the movie?
I wasn't in the movie.
No.
Well, I may have been in for a minute on the street scene. I just joined in with everyone dancing on the street just because there were so many of my friends in it, and I just jumped in. And then I did a couple episodes when Fame became a series, uh, and Debbie Allen was like, running that. But yeah, Fame was like iconic musical movie, for another generation. And
Yeah, love
but
it.
it's great because there's so many things in the works, and like a lot of the studios and networks are bringing some of the big musicals to TV. Like I did Little Mermaid live. Disney brought that, and they're doing a bunch more, and we did a live version for TV. And people love musicals. It just especially now with the pandemic and everything, you need that escape, and it's a great escape from the harshness of what's going on in the world. Um, but yeah, so I still keep it up. I keep up my acting, but as things start opening up, from production closed down for a long time. So as things start opening up and there's more and more musical stuff being done, like like Be Positive. That was Spencer Liff was the choreographer. I just want to give a shout out to him, um, and so yes, it's great. And I'm writing my own musical film right now, so from my memoirs and from work I've done, and want to add to the list of great films I've worked on, and that way, that you brought Clerks and La La Land and so, the original ones. So it's great.
Absolutely. Talk about 500 Days of Summer.
500 Days. Oh, that was great. Oh gosh, I gotta remember who the director was, who was so great.
Just a minute, I'll
Let's
look him up right here.
look. And the lead guy was
Mark Webb. Mark Webb.
Mark Webb was
Yep.
awesome. We had worked together on a music video. Um, you Had a Bad Day. I think the guy who sang that, and he was just so much fun. And so when he shifted to start directing films, and he wanted the big number in there, he just enjoyed it so much. And I think that was Michael Rooney again was the choreographer on that. Um, and we shot that downtown. That was downtown near something hill near the courthouse, and there's a park around there. And again, another like group number where we just we put in a lot of time. Dancing out on the street is a lot more fun because you get the production people keep the onlookers away, but it's hard to, and it's almost like you're performing on a stage because you do have an audience there, as opposed to being on the set. Your audience is the crew and the personnel. But it's fun having a little bit of live response. that was just a great film. It had a lot of legs, and the lead actor, forgive me, I'm so bad
Uh,
with names.
um, Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt, what a sweetheart! And he just loved to do. He wanted to do more steps and more things, and we just had, again, all my dance jobs. They're all great memories because I remember the directors, the choreographers, and they really, it uplifts everyone. If the shoot was not going so well, and then there was a day where there were the musical numbers planned, it tends to uplift everyone, including the crew. And so I have nothing but good memories on these. I really do enjoy doing those. Those I'm going to do as long as I can still kick my legs.
You had Zoe Deschanel in that film too. I always thought she
Yes,
was,
yes, she's awesome.
and Chloe Grace Moretz. Love Chloe.
Uh-huh.
She's in this as well. Yeah,
So
just
that
got
was, yeah, it's just it's I'm so glad that like it hasn't died. For a while they weren't getting numbers in the musical movies, and they weren't spending much time in the scripts. And I know they're, like you mentioned, West Side Story. Now they're starting to redo
Mm-hmm.
some of the older movies for the next generation, which as an older musical person, I have mixed feelings because you're like, how do you recreate such a great piece of work? But then, you see them and you're like, wow, this is a whole new generation that didn't grow up with these shows.
It is
And it
Steven
just
Spielberg.
introduces.
How often does he miss?
I know, and you're working
Yeah.
with, the best of the best. So,
Here,
so I'm looking forward to that.
here's a film I had not heard of until I was looking up information on you, and yet I'm very familiar with the director David Zucker, An American Carol.
American Carol. Yeah, he did all the Naked Gun and all those comedy movies,
Yeah.
and um, we, again, a lot of laughs on that. And that was another group of older seasoned dancers, and that the parents, and we had a couple of dance numbers, and I work with Kelsey Grammer on that. I had to teach him how to tap dance, and we just had so many laughs with that. And there are a lot of stars in that movie, but we we had the big number where the teachers revolt, and we break out into this dance number, and it even has a section where we jump back to the 60s. The 1968, I think, was the song. And yeah, he kind of like let us run with it. So that was another fun project. Yeah, and as you bring them up, you must be going through my credits, and I'm like, there's a lot of musical films I've done that, yeah,
So
just great
this was
memories.
apparently the last film that Dennis Hopper was in before he passed away too.
Yeah, sadly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
love the Zucker brothers, Jim Abraham, the Airplane, Top Secret, the Naked
Airplane.
Gun
Yeah.
movies, Hot Shots. Yeah, and you're listed as a dancer, uncredited in Jackass #2.
Johnny
Explain that.
Knoxville and yeah, sometimes they just group us, and then you get credits, you don't. That was a rough one. That was
I bet.
a whole, I mean, it was toward the end of the film, and there were like 100 different numbers. And I remember one of his his troop of guys that did crazy things. We were, they show us this big scaffolding, you know 100 or more feet high, and they're like, okay, we want you up there doing this dance number with a shovel or a pickaxe, and we're like climbing up this scaffolding. It was a little scary, but then one of the guys, one of the Knoxville, like the Jackass crew,
Yeah.
um, in that scene, he jumps on it, he gets thrown off a spinning concrete truck, with the spinning drum
Yep.
on the truck. And so we're like, oh, we got nothing to complain about watching this guy go. But that was interesting because he had so many different styles of the dance just sort of thrown at once. and then there was the big tuxedo number, and there was, but yeah, that was probably unexpected in that film because that all came at the end, and you're like a musical number in Jackass, but I think it worked.
Yep. And you're listed as dancer number 7. And did you hear about the Morgans?
Oh, right. That was fun. We shot um in Santa Fe or just outside Santa Fe. Um and we did all country. That was all country dancing. And we shot on a like a rodeo uh place, and that was great because they put us up in a beautiful like spa resort, and so they were mostly night shoots. So we had the days kind of free, and country western dance, the two steps and stuff were pretty easy. Or for myself, I picked that up pretty easy. So we did have rehearsals, but then it was like in that big group where the uh, someone was winning the horse contest, if I remember, or something. But yeah, I've gotten to travel on a lot of these musical gigs, so that's fun, you know. But
You had Hugh Grant and Sarah Jessica Parker. That's not bad.
yeah, yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
And Sarah had done, we had met when she was young, and I think she had done Annie or Cats or something. I remember seeing her at the Cats reunion, and so she, as a kid, she came from a musical theater background. And a lot of the actors, celebrities, do have musical theater backgrounds, but then it just didn't go that way. But then as they get older and more popular, a lot of them want to bring musical stuff back in. I mean, just like this, talking about this Be Positive show I just did that's running now. Anna Lee Ashford won a Tony Award, and she was a big musical theater person. I believe she did Kinky Boots, and but on TV, no one's ever known her as that. She's a great singer and dancer, and so I think when when producers say, "Hey, we can tap into this," in another season, or tap into we'll bring a flash mob or some sort of dance number in an episode of something. I think they're taking advantage of that now, which is great. I love it.
Well, not all things you did were musical. You're listed as being in Invasion USA, which I haven't seen in a very long time.
Oh, right. Let's see, Invasion USA. And that was with gosh, you're gonna have to help me if you're looking
Chuck
up
Norris.
Chuck Norris. How could I forget? That was tough. No, that was I played a Latino, and they were shooting up our neighborhood, and I had to protect my girlfriend, and that was a heavy scenes. And so I've had a range. I mean, bring that up, quite a range of roles. I mean, my first role I played, Kirk Douglas, was my godfather in a mafia movie. I was sick in the Brotherhood, and then so, and then the last big film I did, Darkness in Tenement 45, was about a pandemic, and we had shot it right before the pandemic, taking place in the 50s. They had no idea that this was going to happen, for real. And I play an old landlord who's in New York, and we're all trapped inside and quarantining, and so it's sort of a dark suspense, not a horror film. It's more a suspense. That's playing on Amazon or one of the streamers, and that I play a heavy, but and there's it's like a not a homeless shelter, but I take in kids who without parents, and so I'm protecting them in the film as well. And there's all these different things that happen throughout the movie that I won't give away, but yeah, so I played some heavies, but I have to balance that with, like, every few films or TV shows where I play a heavy. I played a Gaslit, which is a new that hasn't come out yet. It's Sean Penn and Julie Roberts' new series about Watergate. and I
Okay.
play a prisoner, mafioso guy who got in prison about when all that was going on, and talking with some of the other uh, uh, political people who were put in prison, and he was a bit of a heavy. So my point was that I have to balance these out with some of my musical gigs. That it keeps it, the balance helps a lot. I want to keep dancing as long as I can, and that helps my career sort of balance out, I think.
Well, you did quite a bit of TV as well. I've interviewed Larry Wilcox from Chips.
Oh my gosh.
He played Lenny.
Larry and Eric Estrada. Yeah, I was young then. I was part of the not Rat Pack, the Brat Pack, and
Uh-huh.
um, but that was fun. That was earlier in my career, when I was starting to come out to Los Angeles back and forth. I did the New York and L.A. bi-coastal thing for a while, and now I'm pretty much based in L.A. Although I do go back a couple of times to see what's going on. I'm actually starting a show. It's a world premiere stage musical now that stage is opening, about the fall of the U.S.S.R., especially specifically Estonia in the late '80s, and I'm playing Vladimir Lenin. But
Hmm.
it's a musical, so he's a dancing, and Stalin's in it, and Gorbachev, and and that hopefully might bring it to New York. A lot of times they'll try out and workshop things, or bring premieres out here to LA to sort of workshop them and get them really tight, and then bring them back east, or put them on tour and stuff. So I start rehearsal in a couple of weeks. That opens in January. But it'd be nice to be on a stage too. I haven't done that for years, on a theater stage. Everyone's vaccinated and all that, but that'll bring a whole nother element to the business. So
And of course, Murder She Wrote reunites you, of course, with Angela Lansbury.
yes, Murder She Wrote again. Angela, I think Angie, as we called her, was
Uh-huh.
still, she's still around. She's still working. God bless her, in her 90s, and she taught me, I think, as at an early age, especially in Gypsy, because we were on tour for a year before we went to Broadway, and so when you're on tour with a group or a cast, you really get to know people. So it really is like a family, and she just taught me, the value of being nice to people and never, having airs and things. And she was, to me, the most down to earth, um, celebrity I've ever worked with, and just such a great work ethic, and always, she would have her rest and make sure, the show came first, and then, being reunited many years later, almost 20 years later, um, she remembered me. I was one of her newsboys, and she introduced me to the whole cast, and we went to lunch during the shooting, and I did 2 episodes of that. And a lot of her family was involved too. Her husband was one of the producers, and her brother, and her son was the director. And so it was great. She, when she could bring family in, which brings me back to it. It is, whenever there's a musical theater background, they make a family on a show, and that was just so great. And I ran into her again a couple of years ago. She was doing a Noel Coward play at the Music Center downtown in Los Angeles. And I said, it's been another like 10 or so years that I had spoken to her. And we went backstage, and it was like no time had passed. She's like, welcome me. Oh, put him on my list. He's got to come back. And we caught up and chat about the old days. And she's just marvelous. That's someone, that I would like an enduring career like that. But I'm working on it. I'm 50 years in now.
There you go.
So,
There
and
you
I
go.
don't have any plans of stopping.
No. And of course, you were in Alias, of course, which has Jennifer Garner.
Jennifer Garner. That was awesome. I got to do a little of my Italian roots. It took place in it. The scenes I was in took place in Italy via the Disney lot. I think we were on at that one, or ABC lot, and I was an Italian prisoner. Another prisoner. Not that I'm making a thing about being prisoners, but there were 2 or 3 roles of prisoner. But I spoke all in Italian on that episode. And then it was, it had subtitles at the bottom of the show, but that was fun too. Yeah, I've sort of had quite a range of roles that I play, and I love it. As a character actor, you just kind of want to play different things, and as you get older, you get typecast a little bit into certain things. But I love surprising people. So then, when I'm a plumber and then I break out in a dance, or like some mafioso guy who turns out to be a nice guy or something, or a prisoner, I just like to keep it fresh and you know.
And of course, you go full circle. You're part of Glee.
Yes. I'm a major Ryan Murphy fan, just all the types of shows he's brought to the table and now. And I actually did 4 or 5 episodes of Glee, and in various locations. In fact, I was talking about, like, on 500 Days of Summer, we kind of had an audience. One of the episodes of Glee we shot in this mall in Eagle Rock, and they couldn't close the mall for some permitting issues. So on the second floor, there were all people watching. And when you watch this particular episode, it was a flash mob in the mall, and you'll see all, like, people. And in fact, my husband was up there watching, and there's a shot where he's just watching. And then there's some lady who comes through with a shopping cart, who was actually going to store, and she just walked through the dance scene and went into the supermarket. But Glee was so much fun too. It was such a young cast, the main cast, and so talented, and he really had a knack for finding people, great performers, singers, and dancers on that show, and then extended to any of the cast members that he brought in. So Glee was iconic, I thought, especially for this generation, or that generation when it was playing.
Absolutely. Well, you know what? You've worked with a lot of great people. You've definitely got a lot of wonderful things to look back on,
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any charities that you're involved in, or a web page you want to plug on here?
Sure. Well, you can get any information on me and things I'm involved in. I keep a little blog and what's new. It's my name.com, anthonymarciona.com. And so you can email me. I have all my reps there if anyone's interested in hiring, and all the recent work I've done. I have a few clips from things I've done on there, and then my resume and stuff. And then so please go visit that. I'm on all of the Instagram, Facebook. I did my first TikTok with my friends, the Baby Boomers, and I got over 40,000 hits in the first few weeks. So that's another platform. And Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I'm all at anthonymarciona.com. Is my name up, or do you need me to spell it?
No, you're good. You're good. You're good.
And then in charities, gosh, I always give to the Actors Fund. They've helped so much, especially with the shutdown, with actors in need, actors, dancers, singers, any of the entertainment, performing artists. And then I'm a big animal lover. So I give to various charities for animals, and then the LGBT community for children in need, and the shelters. So I think I have some of those links on my site for resources.
And I guess you got to work with Emma Stone.
Yes,
Oh
I did.
my.
And if I had known what a big fan you were, I would have asked her for an autograph to give to you. But that was if I had known you earlier, Greg.
Oh man, yeah.
Now we take, and people still like doing that. Most actors, we are in front. We're in front of the cameras, so love taking selfies, and we did a lot of that, and autographs not so much, but
Did you take a selfie with Emma?
we did. We took a group one. Damien arranged some fun shots with all of us, and then I took some, on my own after we wrapped, and yeah, no, everyone was great. They just, and sometimes say, "Oh, Anthony," but we're all performing together. And again, especially like when you're doing a musical number, everyone's sort of in the mood. Oh yeah, let's just take pictures and have fun. And yeah, so I got quite a collection of those. I should probably add a page of celebrities I work with, and
You got a selfie with Emma, I envy you.
I'll have to
um,
send you that.
I'll watch her in pretty much anything, so yeah, yeah. Well, is there anything else you want to promote or plug on here before we close off?
No, I think their show, and definitely, I love to hear. I have a fan base, and I love to hear from people, and if they want to keep abreast of what I'm doing, I keep that updated pretty well, and
Hmm.
so yeah, you can find out anything at my site, anthonymarciona.com. And
Absolutely, absolutely.
thank you so much.
If you're on Facebook, I'll fire you a friends request.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. No, it was
Cool.
great, and it was wonderful having Reshma on here, so I'm glad that you touched base with her before this interview, and I'm glad she still remembers me fondly. So
Oh
there you
yeah,
go.
yeah. I run at SAG after I'm the co-chair of the dancers committee, so I do keep a abreast of a lot of the dancers in town and what they're working on, as well
Hmm.
as various other committees for acting and stuff at SAG. But yeah, it's great. So I do keep in touch with a lot of them. A lot of us are friends because we work pretty regularly with each other. So
Well, it was awesome having you come on here today and talk about Clerks 2 and La La Land and 500 Days of Summer and all these other amazing things. And we regret you didn't get to do a musical number with Chuck Norris and Invasion USA, but
I know that's what the one thing was missing from that film. I gotta say, but he's no longer around. That would have been something, right? If we got him in a group dance number.
see him with the Kevin Smith pigtails,
Yeah,
that'd be a good look for Chuck Norris.
that'd be something. I think that, I mean, you made a point. Anything can be turned into musicals. So producers will kind of look at some of these, you know, older films and see if we can redo them as a musical.
Well, look at the producers. Mel Brooks was really trying to turn something into a musical on that
Right,
one.
right. Look at that turned out.
There you go. There you go. Well, Anthony, it was wonderful having you come on here today. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much for
Greg. I
allowing me the
appreciate
honor. Oh, yes,
it.
absolutely. Anyway,
All right. And keep on doing, yeah, keep on reaching out, and everybody dance and keep you happy.
absolutely, absolutely. You take care and God bless you.
All right, you too. Thank you very much. Take care.
Absolutely. Bye bye.